Aha, I knew my microphone was off. Hi. Welcome, everybody. Can you hear me now? I knew my microphone was off. All right, so I feel like you can hear me now. Hello, can you hear me clearly? Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All right, you can hear me. Good. All right, so let's confirm. A couple of us have started writing. Is it as easy as you imagined it would be? Has it been as easy as you imagined it would be? Let me get your feedbacks. Let's get those feedbacks in. Let's get the feedbacks in. You started writing, yeah? Is it as easy as like you imagined it? Oh, I'm just going to write this. I'm just going to write and it's going to go. What has been your experience? Please share your experiences in the chat. We share our experiences like this. It will help others also understand what we are doing. Yeah. So you have started writing or you're about to start. Where are you currently in your journey? Type it in the chats and I'll be responding. Okay. So we are starting off. Last week not last week. I think it's about 2 days ago. We set the expectations, clearly about writing for web novels. Now you understand the thought pattern, you understand what we mean by writing for web novels, right? You now understand it. Do you still have any questions, anything that needs clarification before we go into writing the book particularly? Because that's what we'll be talking about today. How to actually structure your book. That's the main interest right now. How to structure your book, what to expect in your book, writing. The whole idea is to actually get those contracts, right? But exactly what will the editors be signing? What are the editors signing? Will they just sign any book out there? These are some of the things that we'll be talking about today. So, hey, welcome to today's class. If you have questions, use the chat. Type, ask questions, talk to me, okay? If you have any confusion at all, anything at all that might be bothering you about, getting started, write it in the chat. I'll be addressing everything as much as possible as we go along. For those who have already started writing, what has been your experience so far? What has been the most exciting part of getting started as a writer for web novels, right? Tell me the most exciting part of it. So I'm going to be reading your chats as well. And if you begin to find value in today's chat, you see that thumbs up at the top of your screen. Please click the thumbs up, okay? We are about 14 watching right now. If we all click the thumbs up, it's going to help, increase the viewing status of today's video, of today's live stream. So please click the thumbs up. You see that thumbs up at the top of the screen. If you have already clicked it before, no need to click it again. But if you have not, please click the thumbs up. And if you get to watch the replay as well, you can always click the thumbs up. The thumbs up is under the video when you watch the video. All right. Okay, so let me read some of our chats here. So we have some messages here, and someone is saying it's not been easy, but it's been interesting. I like that. It's not been easy, but it's been interesting. So what part has actually been interesting for you? That message is from Simple Calm Lessons. Simple Calm Lessons. Tell me what part has really been interesting for you. I want to hear. Okay. What part has been interesting? What part has not been easy? I want to hear it, right? So that some people would also learn. Most people come on here and they would not even chat, but they'll be reading. So let's give them something, impactful. All right, so Rose is saying, yes, it has been an overwhelming experience and learning a lot. I am enjoying every bit of it. Yeah, it's quite enjoyable. Right? Quite enjoyable. It could be overwhelming, I know, when you're taking in something for the first time, but once you get the structures right, once you already understand, from point A to point B to point C, it becomes a walk in the park. So once you want to start another project, you know what you need to do at this point, you know what to do at the other point, right? That's the beautiful thing about it. So all you need to do, this is a first time experience, so just enjoy it. Enjoy every bit of it. Once you're done with your first book, once you get your first contract, trust me, you're going to be so addicted to this process. You'll be like, yeah, I don't want to stop. Right? I know, because yeah, I felt it too. All right. So Gift is saying, no, it's not easy as I imagined it to be, but it has been fun. And I'm currently about to start chapter 6. Yay! You guys celebrate Gift, you guys. Celebrate Gift. Aha. Okay, so you now have your first 5 chapters. You're about to start chapter 6. That's amazing. You have done a lot already. Hope you're already signing your book up. You're already pitching your book to the web novel platform so that you can have, your feedback, whether you've been signed or not, so you can continue. Okay, so pitch your book, your first 5 chapters. If your chapters are more than 5,000 words, it will be good for the Good Novel platform. Right? Good Novel needs just 5,000 words for you to get signed. All right, someone is saying, I feel like another creative part of me has been unlocked. I love the sound of that. Okay, so yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it. Please, let's celebrate ourselves in the chat. We're actually doing amazing. You guys are doing amazing. I love the work you're doing. Nobody's slowing down. Everybody's actually, on their toes. You're taking this seriously. I appreciate you all, because that's the joy, of doing this. All right. So Simple Comes is saying, when people hear AI, most would think just give the prompts, either good or not, and wait for the responses. But that's not what it takes. It takes a lot of guidelines to get it right. Please, you guys, I wish I could pin this comment right now, but I feel like, okay, yeah, I can. I actually can pin that comment. Yes, this is the stake, or the takeout from, or take home from today. Can I pin that comment? Okay, so I think I did pin the comment, right? So yes, you can actually, when people hear that, they actually feel like, yeah, it's just AI, it's lazy work. I'm happy that this person now understands, the thought patterns and, the process it takes to actually create a piece of art. AI is just a tool. I always say that it is just a tool. If you do not know your onions from before, it would not make the work easier for you, right? It's when you know what you're doing that you're able to achieve any result at all, or the kind of results that you're actually going for utilizing AI. All right, so I see Ihoma Chidere saying, because of the challenge from Claude and ChatGPT, I feel behind. We are not talking about tools. I would not be talking about tools on this chat. Anything about tools, we talk about them on our group, okay? I'm not going to be talking about tools. I won't be addressing tools on this chat. Let's talk about experiences, okay? All right, so Simple Comes lesson is saying the interesting part is when you give those amazing prompts and get all the full loaded stories at once. Amazing. Yeah, but you still need to do your own due diligence, read through it, correct, make as much corrections as you can, okay, because that's the whole beauty behind creating this. You don't just leave everything to the AI. Sometimes you realize that maybe because, some of these AIs are actually trained to be nice, right? And sometimes your own concept as a human is to push the limits, to push the boundaries, and then just being edgy, just staying on the edge. It's not necessarily addressing some of the things you would have addressed. So you need to do your own due diligence, read it and make your corrections before, without just, being excited about getting too many stories or chapters at once. Okay, you still need to correct it, you still need to guide it, make sure it is giving you exactly what you had in mind, before you pitch a story. All right, so Simple Comes is saying, I have chapter 1 to 5 more with my cover. Beautiful. Okay, I love it. You guys are amazing. If I keep reading your comments, we're not going to start today's class. So yeah, let's get started, okay? But keep the chats coming. When we're talking like this, I would definitely come back to the chat and address some of your concerns, some of your thoughts, some of the comments. I would definitely come back to it. But let's get started with the chat. I'm happy that you're getting results, as you're working. Remember, this is all about us working together. We are working as a collaborative platform. humans and the tools, the right tools to do the job. Okay. The tools are not the creatives. We are the creatives. We are the ones to guide the tools. Okay. So that mindset shift alone changes the whole perspective. It changes everything. Once you understand that you are in control, you're the one guiding the tool, you will definitely get the results that you require. Okay, so if you have any questions from last week, why do I keep saying last week? From the last class, if you have any questions from the last class, please drop it in the chat. I'll be reading it, okay? All right, so let me run through the chats here. We are doing well. No, AI takes a lot. I'm currently reading and correcting my first 5 chapters. Editing is very important. We'll get there. Amazing, beautiful. At least you guys can see the work. But the good thing about it is something that would have taken you probably like 2 months or 3 months to write, you get it in a couple of hours and you're able to actually sit back and then do some editing. So you skip the whole writing process and just go straight to editing. That's the beautiful part of it, right? Imagine taking 3 months to write and then giving your editor again another 3 months to edit. Well, with AI right now, you can just skip the whole, writing and then get to the editing point. That's where your own voice begins to shine, right? Am I communicating? Are we getting value from this right now? I'm happy. You guys celebrate yourselves in the chat. And if you've not clicked the like button, please click that thumbs up. You see it under the name of this channel. If you already clicked it, don't bother. Okay. But please help me remind those who join in to kindly click the thumbs up as we go ahead. All right. So we're jumping into the first thing on the list here. Okay, so we need to start talking right now. Remember, if you have questions from the previous class, you can always ask. But while I'm waiting for your chat, we're going to start talking right now about, we talked last week about what makes a good story, right? We already know the good story, the beginning, middle, and end, and you already know that you must start your story with a hook. You know that already, right? But there is something about each story that would actually get your audience watching beyond just the hook. Because when you hook someone into watching your story or reading your story, right? What will keep them? Because the truth is, even on social media platforms right now, there's something they call the average view duration. YouTube has it, AVG, average view duration. So if you hook the person and the person comes into it and starts reading trash, guess what? You only retain them for the hook and then they will go away. Do you understand? So what will actually keep your viewer or your audience or your reader reading throughout, because now we're talking about books, right? So the reason you hear me talking about viewer and audience is because, well, I do a multi-scope media, right? I do multimedia. So I write, I create films and the rest, right? So you can check more of that. That is for those who are new to SAB Studios NG. You can check more about what we do on this channel by checking the playlist and the channel in overview. All right. So, but let's concentrate on books right now. So imagine you create a hook and your reader opens the book and they are hooked from the get-go and they're like, yeah, this book is going to be interesting. And then they open it and then the next thing they see, you have dropped the ball very, very low, right? Like nothing is interesting again. Your characters are flat. They are boring. There is no battle. There is no conflict. Your antagonist is low, right? Guess what? They are going to move. They are going to just leave your book. And guess what? That will make the web novel platform to ignore your book. Honestly, like you will even dissuade them from marketing your book. Them feel, how do I describe it now? You make them feel like they shouldn't be investing their marketing and trying to push your book. Yes, whenever you send in your book, once they sign your book, you would actually be assigned a marketing team, right? That will handle your book, the promotion of your book, the marketing of your book, depending on your contracts and all of that, right? But imagine that when people start to read the book, they've read the first 5 chapters and they're thinking, oh, it's interesting. The moment they enter chapter 6, because of course you need the 5 chapters to get your contract, right? Imagine after they read 1 to 5, then The next thing, they are leaving the book from chapter 6. There's nothing else interesting for them to read, and they are leaving the book. Guess what? You're frustrating your marketing team. You're frustrating the promotions of the book, because they will waste money to promote the book. People will only read the first 5 chapters and they won't read again. Do you guys understand? So that's what we want to talk about now. How do you sustain the readership of your book? That's what we want to talk about. So there is a 4 formats that I've always thought about. There's a 4 key formats, a format with 4 phases or 4 keys that you need to know, that will help to preserve the interest in your book. And that is, number 1, conflict. You already know that your hook already starts off with a conflict. Your hook is not basic. Your hook is not boring. Your hook is saying, hey, there is action in this book. Read it. That is the first thing. So conflict is number 1. That is the number 1 key you need to know when you're writing your book. If your book does not have conflict, everything in your book must be conflict. Like I would always say, for those who have taken some of my classes before, when it comes to storytelling, right? If you have taken any of my classes, you will hear me say this. In real life, we always pray that life gets better, right? Oh, life should get better. This thing should change, and so on. Guess what? When creating a story, when creating your novel, no, you must not pray for things to get better for your character. No, you are not praying for that. You're praying for how things will get worse. How can I make this thing worse? So let's do the what if game now. So everyone who is watching, let's play this game together. What if? So for example, let's take this lady riding, the horse, the one with the red scarf on screen. Let's take her for example. So let us play a game of what if. And I want you to write the worst case scenario. As you see her riding that horse now, what is the worst case scenario? When you want to write it, start with what if. What if she falls off the horse? What if the horse steps on her? What if, she rolls or she falls into like a pit? What if in that pit there is a snake? What if? I want you guys to play that game right now. Please, let's start doing the what if game. Using that particular lady that we see on the screen, wearing the red scarf and riding the horse. Tell me, what's the what if? What is the worst case what if you can bring up? Put it in the chats. Please, let's start writing. Let's write. We are writers here, so let's write. What if? Let's play the what if game. What if? What if? What if? Start your comment with what if. What is the worst case scenario? What if something falls from the sky and hits her? What if a car just runs into her? What if? I want you guys to play that game with me. Nobody's typing. I want to see your chats, you guys. I want to see your chats. Please, let's type. What if? Okay? Type. What if? All right, so let's go. I'm waiting. What if? Okay? Show me all the what ifs. The what ifs are all the worst case scenarios that could happen to the lady wearing, the red scarf. All right, let's have those what ifs going. Please bring in the what ifs. All right. So, like I will always say, you don't need the best case scenario in your stories. You need a worst case scenario. What is the worst that could happen? What is the worst that could happen? And when you get to the worst, how can it become worse? This message is held for review. Okay, sure. Yes, let's go. Let's do it. Bring in the what ifs, all the what ifs. Okay, so I can see what if here. What if the horse fell with the lady, dragging her red scarf along with her? You can see that. That is a story direction on its own. Can you see that? Another person is saying, what if the horse throws her off, thumps on her, and she loses her leg after? Beautiful. That is a what if. You guys, can you see that? Another story direction from one picture, from one image. Can you guys see that? That is why I always say that your stories are unique to you. So everybody can be using AI to write, but not everybody will see it the way you are seeing it. Can you see that you are already creating a story direction? We are all seeing the same image, but you guys are all several different stories from just one image. Can you see it? And we can still go further now. We're going to play that game. We're still going. Stay here. So the person that said, what if the horse fell with the lady, dragging her red scarf along with her? Now let's imagine, now that the horse is dragging her with the red scarf, what is the other what if? What's the worst that will now happen again? Tell us. What if, now that we have already agreed now that the horse fell with the lady, dragging her red scarf along with her, what if? What's the next what if that will happen? This is the new case scenario right now. The new case scenario is saying that the horse has fallen with her, is dragging her along with the scarf. Now, what is the worst case scenario again? After that has happened, tell me again in the chat. For the other person that said, what if the horse throws her off, trumps on her, and she loses her leg afterwards? What is the worst case scenario again? What if? Tell me. Now that she has lost her leg afterwards, imagine she's in the hospital. They have told her that she's losing her leg. What is the worst case scenario? Add another what if. And this what if doesn't need to, you have already talked about the horse and the lady now. We are moving in the direction of your story. So tell me what if, what now happens next? The person that said, what if some gangs come up and hold her captive? Beautiful. Another direction, completely different direction. I love it. Now, what if? So what is the worst case scenario that will happen now? Now that they now capture her and they hold her captive, what is the worst case scenario? Tell me. What is the next worst case scenario? Tell me. All right, another person, the person that said, what if another wild animal surfaced and attacked? Hi, I love it. Now that they are now attacking her, what happens? What is the worst case scenario? Imagine she's running and she falls into a ditch. Like seriously, what is the worst case scenario? You guys tell me. Tell me, what if? In fact, this particular one, this person just took me in a different direction. While I'm imagining her falling into that ditch, I'm imagining that all the animals stay over her, this is because they don't want to jump inside, but thunder now strikes and rain starts to fall. Guess what? That ditch will start to fill up with water. That's another worst case scenario. This is me adding to the person's story of what if. Do you guys see that? We can keep going in different directions. Can you guys see that? Please, let's keep the what if going in the chat. Let me see more of the what ifs. Let me see more of your what ifs. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the what if going. All right. And then another person says, what if the horse capsized and the scarf ties her neck tight? Hey, I love that one. All right, let's keep going. What now happens? Now that her neck is tied, what will now happen? Let's keep going with the what if. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that? All right, let's go. What if a young, handsome man appeared to rescue the beautiful lady afterwards? This is not a worst case scenario now. A handsome young man appearing to rescue her. Is that a worst case scenario, you guys? All right, so let's see another what if. What if after she loses her legs, her husband runs off with her secretary and all her savings? Oh my goodness, can you see this? That is a story there. Can you guys see that? That is making her matter worse. She's already having physical pain. Now add emotional pain to it. Oh my goodness, that is a story there. Can you guys see that? Can you see that you can actually build? That is what makes your story interesting. That is what makes your audience want to read. That is what we are talking about right now. When they read your hook, how do you sustain it beyond the hook? They have read your 5 chapters. They signed your book. But when you now deliver chapter 6, we now start seeing that she's having a ball. She's enjoying her life. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. They will trash your book. Nobody will stay to read your book. You need to keep playing what if. Once you get to a block, like maybe you get to a point and it looks like, oh, the story is looking too nice and all of that, play the what if. Play this what if. That is how you will keep your book going. Because I know that when I talked about 1,100k words last time with you guys, some of you say, that's plenty. That's too much. That's not too much when you can play what if. And don't tell your competitors because they don't know. Do you guys understand? Most people do not know this. Most people do not know this. So you know it now. Anytime you get to a block, anytime you get to a space where something is not working, play what if. What if, just what if, somebody who has fallen down, lost her legs, the husband now runs off with her secretary and all her savings. Oh my goodness, where does she start from? Imagine another what if from there. The person who has brought that up, I want you to play another what if with us. Now that the husband has run away with the secretary and all her savings, what if? What now happens? What if? What if? Play another what if for us. All right, another person is saying, what if they ask for ransom and she doesn't have and they are forced to take her as a slave? Can you guys see that? I love this. This is a what if that connects back to where, the person said, the first what if that the person gave us was, what if some gangs come up and capture her? Right? That was the first what if. Now the person is adding another what if to it to say, what if after they capture her, they ask for ransom and she doesn't even have the ransom and they are forced to take her as a slave? That is another what if, you guys. Can you see the direction we are going? One picture. We all started with one picture. Look at where we are going. Diverse stories, because we can think. And AI does not do this for us. Is it AI that is typing right now? No, it is not AI. It is you. You are thinking. That is what if does. So whenever you come across, when you have written your story to a point and you feel like, what will happen next? Just sit back and think, okay, this has happened. What if? It must not get better. It must get worse. That is what will keep. Because guess what? When you are watching your favorite film, what do you used to say? Hey, only one person. Now. Do you understand? You can feel the person's pain. You can feel that person's pain, the character's pain. That is what the writer of that or the storyteller has done to you. That is what you want to do to your readers. You want to make sure that when they are reading, they'll be like, it's enough now. Only one person. Hey, you people should pity her now. That is what you want to do. Guess what? While they are doing that, they will not run away. They will keep reading. They will stay there. They will be reading the story because they want to see what will happen next. They want to understand, will this person ever come out of this? And you will keep them reading. They will read chapter 1. They will read chapter 2. They will read chapter 3. They will read chapter 4. Until they read your 100th chapter, they will keep reading to see, when will our life change? When will our life get better? But imagine you have already answered it. After you have written chapter 1 to 5, you now answer it in chapter 6. What is remaining? They will drop your book. Do you guys understand? Are we getting value from this? Please give me your feedbacks. If we're getting value, give me feedbacks. Okay? If we're getting value, give me feedbacks. All right? So I'm seeing more what ifs. Please keep them coming. Okay? We have a lot to cover, so I'm trying to help us get ahead of the pack. So now that we understand that our stories must be conflict driven, that is number one. The key to keeping your audience glued is to make sure that conflict is part of your story. There is no story without conflict. And what do I mean by conflict? Instead of saying things will get better, you play the what if and see how things can get worse. Okay? For your character. For example, someone who has a gambling problem, then they lost everything. Maybe the thing that they lost probably, they gambled their house. The next thing they thought, they are going to succeed this time, they lost their car. Then even their kids' school fees, they lost that. And then while they are there, even when the last loss now that they say, okay, this is the last one. If I lose this, I will not come back. They now lose and still enter into problem. They will not say, you are not going anywhere. Bring us your child. Bring us your family. Look at how we are going. We are progressing. The story from gambling, now, they now hold them hostage. You have to pay. Pay with your children. Your child, your daughter will become a this, that. Do you understand? That is what makes your story engaging and keeps your audience glued. Reading your book constantly. Do we understand? Are we getting value? All right, so conflict, we now understand conflict. Now let's talk about spiral. Spiral goes directly with conflict. So you have set the story up. This person has a gambling problem. That is conflict on its own. Spiral is when we play this what if, right? The more we are doing the what if, that is spiraling. We're spiraling it. So we start off with one image. The first image was the conflict, right? That first image we started with, that is our conflict. We set it up and we say, what if, this lady falls off the horse, and then her scarf is dragged. That was the first conflict that we set up. Then we now moved into spiral. We started spiraling. The spiral is when we are saying what if. Another what if will lead to another what if. Another what if will lead to another what if. That is the spiral. That's the second key. Okay, the second key is spiral. The first key is what? Conflict. The second key is what? Spiral. The more we are playing the what if, that's the more we are spiraling. We are spiraling. We are spiraling. Okay, it means that we are, going down the hole. There's a popular saying that says, if you get to a point, if you are digging and you don't get something, you stop digging. But no, we as writers, we will dig. We keep digging. We must dig. We will dig. We keep digging, right? That is what I mean by spiral. So we keep spiraling. We'll play the what if. When it gets worse, we'll still make it worse again. We'll get worse again. We'll make it worse again. We keep spiraling and spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. That is the second key, spiral. Then the last key, twist. Twist, okay? So now let's go back to this woman now. The husband, I love that story. I don't know why it's stuck in my head. The husband ran away with her secretary and her savings. Let us go back to that story and use twist on that story. So imagine that story spirals. Everybody's pitying this woman, and we are like, hey, God, oh, what will happen? What will happen? Then somehow, imagine someone now finds the husband and say, you are a wicked man. How can you do that to her? How can you? Then we now realize the man now tells us his own part of the story. We now see that woman that we have been pitying, the woman she was the one that actually killed the man's wife and kid, like maybe in a drunken drive, like one night like that, she's driving and somehow she hit them, right? And it's a hit and run, and she ran, right? Now the husband came back for revenge. When he tried to sue and nothing was going on, it didn't happen for her, he now came back to sue. He now came back to take revenge because the law did not help him. So he came back to take revenge. Guess what? We have twisted it. Can you see the twist? Right? So everybody will not be like, hi, we have been pitying this person. We have been dragging the audience, dragging them. Then we get to this point now and we say, you guys, look at it from this point of view. This woman is not so innocent after all. She actually hit someone and ran away. And the man is just taking revenge. You guys have seen some films like that, right? For example, they hire this bodyguard and the bodyguard earns everybody's trust. Then he ends up being the person that they came to their village one time and they burnt all their village and his wife and his kids were killed. And somehow, he had to come and take revenge for his family. You guys have seen those type of stories, right? Do you see the twist? So twist is the last of, the keys that I want to give you. Conflict, spiral, twist. They go together. That is what will keep your audience reading beyond your chapter 5. So you have written 1 to 5 now. What will keep your audience reading chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8? Because they want to see, when will things change? When will things change? That is what I've just told you now. You must set a conflict. You must spiral that conflict to the worst case scenario continuously. Keep expanding it. Keep expanding. And then you twist, right? When the audience think, they have figured it out, you now twist it and show us another part. See, it's not what you think, it's like this. That is what twist is. So those are the 3 keys that will keep us keep your audience and your viewers and your readers engaged. And these particular keys that I've given you, you can use it across any of your stories, both for film, both for books, both for comics, both for your podcast, for anything that you are creating. Make sure if you use these keys, trust me, people will binge watch your content. People will read and read and read. You will gather your fans, you gather your followers. This is what people need. Okay, so if you can master these 3 keys for any kind of story you want to create, whether it is audio, whether it is video, whether it is audiovisual, whether it is text, any type of content that you are creating, and you can master these 3 keys for your storytelling, you are a master storyteller. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing the comments. Amazing. I think we're doing amazing. Hope we're getting value Hope we're getting value. So I'm getting very strategic value. Beautiful. What if she later realizes the man that poses as her husband is not her husband? Oh my goodness, I love it. Can you guys see the what if? I love it. Whenever we are having a writers conference and we do this what if, it's always a blast. It is always a blast, you guys. It is always a blast. So yeah, keep it coming. Okay, all right, so we're moving on now. You know the 3 keys. All right, so we're going to talk about, now that you know the 3 keys, but you want to start writing your book. How do you write your book? There is something they call plot. The plotting, you have to plot it. You have an idea, but beyond that idea, you now add these keys that we have talked about. You add these keys to your idea. That is when you now have a story, a proper story. But you want to make sure that you do not write and get stuck somewhere, right? So you want to now ask your AI. That's where your AI comes in. You can do this manually. We used to do it manually before AI came, right? You can now say, in chapter 1, this is what will happen. Chapter 2, this is what will happen. Chapter 3, this is what will happen. So for you who is going for like 60 chapters, 70 chapters, 80 chapters, 90 chapters, 100 chapters, you want to make sure that for every chapter, you know how you are going to, what will happen in each of those chapters, right? You want to make sure that every chapter is clear to you. So if this character starts off riding the horse in chapter 1, by the end of chapter, we would have fallen down. Remember, it is conflict. Remember, you're using those 3 keys. So all the 3 keys must show up in every of your chapter. Don't say, oh, I'll wait to use the key in another chapter. No, every chapter must have the 3 keys. You start off with a conflict in chapter 1. In the middle of chapter 1, you have spiraled. At the end of chapter 1, you have twist. You create a twist that will lead us into chapter 2. It is that twist that will make your audience want to read chapter 2. Where did this one happen? They will now want to read chapter 2. Do you understand? So every of your chapters must use the 3 keys. So now plotting means you're going to sit down before you even start to write your chapter 1. It means that you must plan how your 60 chapters will look like. You must plan how your 70 chapters will look like. You must plan how your 80 chapters will look like. You must plan how your 90 chapters will look like. You must plan how your 100 chapters will look like. That way, you are not going to, be stuck. Some people start writing and they get stuck because they don't know what to write again. But you, who already understands, plotting, what you're going to do is, manually with your AI now, you don't need to do it manually again. But manually before, we used to use pen and paper. We'll write chapter 1. We'll say, character starts to ride a bike. Character falls off the bike, right? It is beautiful when you write. It is like seeing the beginning picture and the end picture of every chapter. That's what plotting is. Make sure you are writing the beginning picture. That means, the person started happily and somehow they fell off the horse by the end of that chapter. So beginning and end of every chapter is your plotting. Right? Write the beginning, write the end, write the beginning, write the end. Chapter 1, this is how it will start, this is how it will end. Chapter 2, this is how it will start, this is how it will end. Chapter 3, this is how it will start, this is how it will end. Chapter 4, this is how it will start, this is how it will end. So when you have done that for all your 60, 70, 80, 90 chapters, you are ready. You have done a plotting. That's what they call plotting, right? You have plotted your full story. You are now ready to start to write. All right? Are we getting value? Are we getting value? If you have not clicked the like button and you've been watching and you're getting value, please click the like button. Please click the like button. The like button, the thumbs up button is under the name of this channel. You can see it at the top of the channel. You can see it there. Please click it for us. Okay, your support means everything. You can see that there is no gatekeeping here. We are giving you back-to-back value. Please support us by clicking the like button. The thumbs up button is under the name of this channel at the top of your screen. You can see the thumbs up there. Please click it. Okay, thank you as you do. Thank you as you do. All right, so moving forward, now we understand the 3 keys for writing a good story. We now understand what plotting means. Okay, chapters and scenes. Okay, so now for your chapters, to help you plot a good chapter, right? To help you plot a good chapter, let me add this to it, right? So sometimes when we're writing a good chapter, we might have multiple scenes in them. So remember, we already talked about the word count. So sometimes your chapter can be 1,000 words, sometimes it can be more. So for example, if you want to hit like 100K words for your book in total, I'm just using that for example. If you want to hit 100K words for your book, and you will look at it and say, okay, for me to do that, really, I need to have like 1,000 words per chapter. 1,000 words per chapter. So you can decide to add 3 to 5 scenes in every chapter so that you have a bulky, chapter. Right? I'm not saying put things that are not necessary in the chapter, but I'm saying like you might have 3 to 5 scenes in the chapter. You can plot it. Like once you have plotted the general plot, like I've shown you, like I just taught you right now, right? You can now come back and do specific plotting for each of your chapters, right? So for example, you have done the generic plotting. Why am I saying prompting? You have done the generic plotting, the way I've taught you how to plot everything from chapter 1 to 100, right? You already have that. That's the general plotting. So you can now come back and say, let me plot my first 10 chapters. So now you want to streamline it and make sure that you see what your first 10 chapters will look like, right? So for every chapter now, you can say in every chapter I have 3 scenes. You can say in every chapter I have 5 scenes. It depends on you. You are the writer. You will guide it. Right? So your scenes are like small pieces in your chapters, right? For example, we all know the keys now. So let's imagine your scenes. Let's take 3 scenes per chapter, for example. So your first scene will now take one of the keys and be conflict. The second scene will take the second key and spiral. The third key will take the third scene will take the third key, which is twist. Can you guys see that? That means you have covered the 3 keys in, and 3 scenes use the 3 keys: conflict, spiral, twist. Conflict, spiral, twist. So can you see how that begins to make your story very interesting? So you use that over and over and over and over. So for example, something starts off like this. For the first scene, you now spiral it. That same event spirals into something else, and then you now change it. That same event now has a twist to it that will now lead us into second chapter. Second chapter starts off with that normal event, which is the conflict, right? And then the second scene will spiral that same event now again into more events, and we now twist again, which is what will start the next chapter. Do you guys see that? That is how to continue building your story. So it continues to build upward and upward and upward. If I'm too fast, if you're not getting what I'm saying, please ask me questions, okay? Kindly ask me questions. I want to confirm if everybody is here, if you're understanding me. Do I need to slow down? Are you understanding? Are we making sense? Are you getting value? Are you getting value for your time? Please share. Ask me questions, okay? All right, so we have talked about the 3 keys for writing a good story. We've talked about plotting, chapters, and scenes so far. Now let's talk about characters and dialogues. Characters and dialogues. Are we getting value? All right. Okay, so someone is saying click the like button. Yes, please remind them. Anyone who has not clicked the like button, kindly click the like button. It's at the top of the screen. It's under the name of this channel. All right. So Gift is saying this has been the missing link to all my creations all these years. Amazing. At least we are helping to make sure that you go and complete those stories now. All right. Go and complete those stories. All right. So now, what have we covered? We have covered the 3 keys to writing a good story. We have talked about the plotting, chapters, and scenes. Now you understand it. Now let's talk about characters and dialogues. Now you're writing a web novel, you guys. A web novel, the reason it's not a hardcover novel is because it is hard copy. It is on the spur of the moment. And most of our attention spans are short. Like we have short circuits right now. People don't have the time to stay long. So if you're not going to catch them fast, right, they will leave. So you want to make sure that you are able to, keep your audience engaged. So that is where your characters come to play. Your characters must be exciting. Your characters must be interesting. Your characters must make your audience feel something. And I'm going to talk about that shortly. Okay, so I see someone saying, I didn't get the plot part, please. Okay, so plotting means you plan your whole story. You already have the overall idea for your story, but how will you be able to sustain that story to get 100k words, right? A lot of us are planning to write 65k words, 100k words, and so on. How can you sustain that to your one idea? How do you sustain it, right? To get, to 100,000 words. How? You need to plot. What do I mean by plot? What will chapter 1 look like? What will chapter 2 look like? What will chapter 3 look like? You must already have it before you even start writing. Before you start saying you want to start writing your chapter 1, oh, I'm ready to start writing, because a lot of us are very interesting people, right? We just feel like this idea is so good. Oh, I want to start writing. You guys, you write 1 to 10. The place that the thing was so interesting in your head, when you are done in chapter 10, you will not know where to go again, right? So it is better you plan. So plotting is that plan. How do you now plan? That's what I now broke down for you. How do you now plan? Make sure when you are writing, initially we used to do it with manual, we used to do it manually. We'll use our pen and paper, but now use your AI to plot. Tell the AI to show you the beginning and the end of every chapter. The beginning and the end of every chapter. You can even go further to say, give me the beginning, middle, and end of every chapter. Give me the beginning, the middle, and the end of every chapter. Give me the beginning, the middle, and the end of every chapter. Let me see it. Remember, that is how we write the stories, right? Now, I even went further to say, in every chapter, this is plotting now. We're talking about plotting. So in every chapter, to make sure that you never get confused, you can have 3 to 5 scenes in every chapter. But I now said, you can still choose to keep it at 3 scenes per chapter. And how you can keep it engaging is to say, I know the 3 keys. I'm going to make sure that every scene in my chapter uses one of those keys. What do I mean? So chapter 1 now, what is the beginning of chapter 1? You have 3 scenes. You will now say 3 scenes will be inside chapter 1, right? I have chapter 1. Now the beginning, middle, and the end means that I have 3 scenes inside chapter 1. So for scene 1, I key, which is conflict. For scene 2, still inside chapter 1, I will use the second key, which is to spiral the event that happened in scene 1. In chapter 1, still the end, that is the 3rd scene of chapter 1, I'm going to now make sure that I twist that event. And so now you have used the 3 keys in the 3 scenes in chapter 1. Are you getting it now? Do you understand clearly now? Is it better? This is how to plot and get the best out of it. This is how to plot. So you have your chapter. So imagine you are doing that for your first, at least you have done the generic one. You do 1 to 100, 1 to 60 chapters, and you now know how your full book will look like. But now you want to do the concise plotting, where you now come back and you will now say, I want to see how my story will progress. So chapter 1, how will chapter 1 go? What will happen in chapter 1? What will happen in chapter 1? You now plot 3 scenes inside your chapter 1 and use the 3 keys for every chapter 1. Do you understand now? Is it clear? Somebody please explain it in the chat so that every other person can read and understand, so that we can move on to characters and dialogues. Okay, so the person who asked the question about the plot, I hope you now understand what plot, how to plot. Please give me your feedback so that I know that you've got it. Okay, so everyone who understands what plotting is and how to plot, please type it in the chat so that we help ourselves. Okay, let's help ourselves. Let's help our fellow writer. How do we plot? What do we plot? What is plotting? Please type it in the chat what you understand by it. I'll be reading it. I'll be confirming or correcting. Okay. Type your feedbacks in the chat, okay? All right, so now we're talking about characters and dialogues. How do you sustain the interest of your audience, your reader, throughout your novel? Your characters must be exciting. Your characters must be interesting. Now, When we say your characters must be interesting, what do I mean? Just the same way we have talked about conflict. Your characters must not be boring. Your characters must be beyond, like the way we describe stories, right? Stories are beyond life. They are bigger than life. They are larger than life. So you need to make sure that your character or your characters are exciting, right? Even when you want to make a boring character, make the character extra boring. Do you understand it? Don't leave a character conventional and just say, oh, I just want to create a boring character. No, you decided that you want to create a boring character, right? Make that character extra boring. If you want to create a character that is fashionable, don't just create a fashionable character. Make the character extra fashionable. If you want to create a character that is worldly, a character that is whatever, add extra to it. And make sure that your character goes beyond what is normal in the normal original life that we have. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Someone following me, someone understanding what we're saying, right? Is someone understanding it? Are we following? It feels like people are sleeping. Are we sleeping? Are we sleeping? Should I end the live stream? Are we done? Are we sleeping? Are we following the live? Are we following? Are we getting value? Give me your feedbacks. Give me your feedbacks. I want to see your feedbacks. You guys type. I want to see your feedbacks. Okay, someone is saying your characters must be exciting, must be interesting. Yes. That's correct. Someone is saying, please, okay, plot. How do you sustain your story? That's your idea. That is what to plot. Your plotting helps you to sustain the story and the idea. Okay. All right, so I see, yes, understood. Okay, yes. All right, so when you're creating your characters, make sure your characters are extra. If your character is bossy, make sure you're creating an extra bossy character. If your character is a good girl, make sure you're creating an extra good girl, extra, I don't know what extra, what to that, but make sure she's extra good girl, right? If your character is, what else do we call that again? Any other thing that your character is, make sure she's extra. Okay, that's what we are going for. Always do extra. Now, speaking about characters, I will not stop here. I have to mention that while you're creating your characters, a lot of people like to create plenty characters in their stories, and that is what will get you confused too easily. Now, whenever you're creating a story, whenever you're creating what do we call it now? Whenever you're creating your characters for your novel, right? This is a key thing that will help to distinguish your novel from others. Make sure that you are using only 3 to 5 major characters. 3 to 5 major characters. So, for example, we can say if we're creating like a billionaire story now, we can say the billionaire, his love interest is like a what do we call it now? Maybe a janitor in his office, right? And that same janitor and his mom is someone who doesn't like, she wants to keep the prestige of their home and something. So either she's a 3, maybe these are the 3, or we can say maybe he's already engaged before he came across the janitor. Maybe the janitor saved his life and then somehow love started between them. Or we can say maybe he broke up with a senator's daughter and the senator's daughter doesn't want to let go, So these are the 3 major characters. You just start off with 3 major characters, maximum of 5 major characters, so that you do not confuse it. The story should be about your main character. We call our main characters female lead FL and male lead ML. Okay, what do we call our female and male lead? FL and ML. These are female lead, male lead. Any other person that is not male lead or female lead, they do not deserve as much attention. Not that you don't build them. They do not deserve as much attention as our FL and ML. So why I say 3 to 5 major characters. So you can decide to go with 3 or you can decide to go with 5. Now, if you're going with 5, start off with ML and FL. That's female lead, male lead. Now, each of them should have at least a best friend or somebody in their corner. For example, the billionaire and the janitor now, female lead, male lead. The janitor might have like probably her best friend who is also working in that same organization who will be in a corner, right? Or the ML will have his mom, either his mom is a good person or maybe she's also an antagonist as well that is not a good person, right? So they should have these okay, let's say the mom is a good person. Let's just have that change and say the mom is a good person, right? So we now have ML, FL, and their sidekicks. The people that are supporting them are called sidekicks. SK, sidekicks, I think that's what they call them. Yeah. I don't know what this thing is, the acronym for them are, but sidekicks, that's the word, right? Sidekicks. So their sidekicks are the janitor has like a best friend working with her in that same corporation. The billionaire probably has someone he trusts, maybe his PA, maybe his sister, maybe his mom. These are the people he trusts, so they are his sidekicks, right? And then the antagonist is now the person that is fighting against the female lead and male lead. The person must be very powerful, must be very powerful. Emphasis on must be very powerful, because it is them against our female lead and male lead. So it could be the billionaire's grandfather, who is the legacy owner of the properties and everything. So if he withdraws his support for his grandson, the grandson will lose everything. That's our billionaire will lose everything. That could be an antagonist. And beyond the antagonist looks like they are one person, but they must have like it will be like it's one person, but they have like a backing of like people that can move mountains for them. For example, the grandfather's loyalty will not necessarily be with his son. It might be with like maybe his society. High society will say they can never accept a janitor as their daughter-in-law. Don't you see the senator's daughter? I have already told the senator that you people will be getting married. So the antagonist has a real stake, and he can move mountains, and he can shake our female lead and our male lead. So no matter how nice our female lead and our male lead their love is, this particular antagonist, he must be more powerful than them, right? That's what we are going for. Even if the person looks like he's one person. For example, imagine the female lead and the male lead, and the antagonist is the ex. The ex happens to be probably the billionaire's the senator's daughter or the president's daughter, or and this our billionaire is saying no, he doesn't want to marry her, he wants to go and marry a janitor. Hey, somebody she has dated before, and high class people will start laughing at her that the man she left went to go and marry a janitor. So like that means janitor is better than her. Do you understand? That is already a problem on its own. So she will do everything in her power. She will use her father's power. She will use all her power. She will use everything to make sure she fights them. Do you guys see the problem now? Do you guys see the problem now? That is what we're talking about. So when you are plotting, make sure you are plotting it like this: 3 to 5 characters. And when you have created your female lead and your male lead, your antagonist, they must have their sidekicks. That's your FL and ML must have their sidekicks. And then they must have an antagonist that is more powerful than them. I hope we're getting value. All right, so rush through the remaining points because we have just a few. We have already hit our time, so I need to rush through the others. So I hope we're getting value. I hope I'm not boring you. Am I boring you? Are you getting value? Should we continue or should we end it? Should we continue or should we end it? You guys give me your feedbacks. Okay, so I see someone writing here. For plot, you can have 3 scenes in 1 chapter, yes, and use your keys. Scene 1 conflict, scene 2 spiral, scene 3 twist. This person gets it. All in a chapter. Plot will make your readers engaged if the format is correct. Oh my goodness, you guys, let us give it up for our amazing simple calm lessons. This person gets it. You guys, that's what you need for your plotting. Whenever you're plotting, use those keys. Okay, you guys can see that this is powerful. The person gets it properly. All right, so let's continue. I'll rush through the last one so that we can do this in the next 10 minutes. All right, so now we understand we have done the 3 keys of our story to create a good story for web novels. We have also talked about the plotting, how to plot using your chapters and scenes, and of course your keys to keep it engaging. Now we have talked about characters. Your characters must be extra, and you must have 3 to 5 major characters per story. Per story. Don't start off with one character and the character looks like our male lead, then tomorrow another character will come and another character. No, we must have 3 to 5 major characters, and then the remaining characters can be dispersed across, like maybe come once in a while and go. Do you understand? So that's what we are going for. We will have 3 to 5 major characters, then we can now have multiple come and go characters that are inconsistent, so we have those type of characters. Now, another thing that will also keep your story top notch is these 3 to 5 characters that I'm talking about. Make sure they are somehow connected. Okay? Find a way to connect them to each other. For example, look at the one that I talked about now, the billionaire and the janitor. Where will a billionaire see a janitor to fall in love with, if not his corporation? Right? Let's be realistic. They are connected by work. So where does the billionaire see the janitor? In the office, somewhere around the office. They will meet within the office space. That is a given, right? Either she is closing late from work, or is closing late from work, or something, or because the billionaire will not be hanging out the same place where the janitor is hanging out now. Let's be realistic. The billionaire will not come and hang out. The janitor cannot go to where a billionaire is hanging out. But you can always create something that will connect them. They must be connected in a certain way. Then, of course, the person that is fighting them, how is the person connected to them? So find a way to connect your 3 to 5 major characters. Find a way to connect them in a way that is realistic. Billionaire to janitor, billionaire's mother, billionaire's grandfather, janitor and her friend or her best friend, janitor, and find something to connect them. All your 3 to 5 characters must be connected in a way. Maybe janitor's ex, maybe billionaire's ex, maybe janitor's mother, maybe billionaire's mother, maybe janitor's father, maybe billionaire's father, maybe grandmother, maybe, do you understand? Maybe billionaire has a son, janitor has a son. Do you understand? There must be some connection. This is what will keep your story engaged. Don't start jumping from a billionaire left his office, now goes to a fashion store, something that is completely unrelated, but you are giving the fashion brand, or you're giving the fashion designer more time than even the female lead. It doesn't make sense. So you have to make sure that all your characters, your 3 to 5 characters, are very consistent and they are all related in a way that is realistic. Okay, that is it about characterization. Now let's talk about dialogue. Dialogue is the concept, how your characters engage with each other, how they talk to each other. It has to be realistic. So for example, now let's still go with our billionaire and janitor. They come from different lifestyles, right? So for example, the billionaire takes her now to a high-class restaurant for the first time, and she has never been to that restaurant before. Not as if maybe she was a heiress before, she had money and then she fell. We're talking about a real janitor now that has never seen the menu before, that doesn't know spaghetti, all those kind of French words and whatever, and they hand her the menu. The way she will be talking will be different, directly very opposite to the way the billionaire will talk. So 2 of them will rub off on each other. By the end of the story, we'll see that 2 of them have changed. But at the beginning, they will not be speaking the same language. Billionaire will be more cultured, right? And I'm talking about a well-customed billionaire, because you can also create a billionaire that not get sense. Billionaire that, you understand what I mean. You can create a billionaire that is a black sheep as well, right? But I'm talking about, like, we're doing CEO kind of billionaire and janitor in his office, right? So janitor in his office, not like she's clueless, right? For example, she got that job and she's working in the office, right? So definitely she can speak. She can hold her own. That would be something that will attract the CEO, the billionaire. But there are certain places that when they go to, people will still look down on her or whatever. For example, the billionaire will not rush to buy her a new dress, right? When she wears her regular dress to maybe a party or something where he said, come and meet me, and she comes there wearing her normal clothes, guess what? The other people will look down on her. The dialogue must show that, oh my God, I think she picked this up from, if it's Nigeria, we'll say Bend Down Select. We'll say, oh my God, I think she picked this from Bend Down Select, and she didn't go to a bougie boutique to get this dress. It will come out. It has to come out. It has to show, right? So somehow, by the time the relationship between herself and the CEO begins to make sense, definitely he can choose to buy the whole boutique for her. You say, close down this store. I want the limited editions of these clothes for my woman. Do you understand? That would change. But you have to make sure that they are speaking to each other in their own way from the beginning. So, for example, imagine you're doing ghetto to bougie, like you want to really make it very contrasting, right? And you say she used to speak slangs, and then the CEO is correcting her English. You say, no, don't say it like that. Say it like this. Do you understand? That is another way of doing it. You can always do that, right? But what I'm saying is their dialogues is what they say to each other. Monologue is when the character is speaking to themselves, but dialogue is when the characters are speaking to each other. So father to mother, CEO to janitor, they are talking to each other. CEO to his mother is talking to him. They are talking on the phone. Those are dialogues. The exact thing they say to themselves, not the writer's narration. I'm not talking about the writer's narration. I'm talking about what the characters are saying to themselves, not what the writer is describing, right? What you are describing as the writer is different from what your characters are saying. What your characters are saying is called dialogue, and it will be in quotes, right? To say she said this, he said this, then they said this. Do you understand? That is dialogue. But what you are describing will be mostly descriptions, narration, narrative. That's what it is called, narratives. Okay, so dialogue must be engaging. Dialogue must be realistic. Dialogue must show the status of your characters or the mindset of your characters. For example, the person who does not believe in money. For example, imagine that a rich billionaire, somehow the day that he's meeting the janitor, maybe outside, the janitor doesn't know he's a billionaire. And by the time they talk, the janitor will say, I hate rich people. Guess what? She has already set him up for hidden identity. You say you hate rich people. Why? She will start to explain. Rich people, they do this, they do that, they do this. Guess what? She's talking from her own POV. That already shows the type of dialogue they will be having. Do you understand me? Are we making sense? Are we communicating? Are we getting value from today's class? Okay. So yeah, I hope we're getting value. I think we're wrapping up now. We have talked about the keys that make your story good. We've talked about the conflict and dialogue. We've talked about the characters, plotting, characters and scenes. Are there any questions as we wrap up? Are there any questions as they wrap up? Okay, are there any questions? So yes, now you know how to write your story, but you're thinking, when I go to those platforms, the web novel platforms, I usually see book covers and I don't know what to do. You guys, you can currently use your AI's image generators to generate your book covers. Okay, so try to use quality image generators so that you can get quality feedbacks. That is in terms of the book covers that you get. Okay, your prompting is also important. Go to those platforms, look at the images, the type of things that they require. Look at their policy for book covers, because sometimes we want to create some book covers that will be really, really explicit, but these platforms do not permit that. So you need to be very cautious of it. And quality is very important, because quality will make sure that your audience click it, because it's just like YouTube thumbnails on YouTube. It is the thumbnail that will make people to click or not to click, right? So you want to make sure that your book cover will be attractive enough for somebody to want to even click it to read your first chapter. If your thumbnail is not good enough, if your book cover is not good enough, nobody will click it to even read, to see your amazing story. So but your book cover is not good, it will not get read. Your book will not get read. Okay, so what you want to do now you know how to tell the story, you know how to create a good story, a good novel. Learn also, use your image generators to create a good book cover. The prompting is important. If you require this prompt, type it in the chat, especially for those who are doing, who are going to be watching the replay. Type it in the chat. I will drop the prompt in the chat if you request for it. Okay, I'll drop the prompt to create your book cover in the chat if you request for it. So if you get to watch the replay of this video, ask in the chat if you want the prompt for creating a good book cover. All right, so let me read through your comments as we go. If you have any question, this is the time to ask now. I'm going to be wrapping up in the next 3 to 5 minutes, right? If you have any questions, please ask. If you are watching and you've not clicked the like button before, there is a thumbs up at the top of the screen. If you have not clicked it before, please click it. But if you have, no problem, don't click again. Thank you. All right, so yes, someone is saying your story should be about your main characters, female lead, male lead, yes, FL and ML. Each should have a best friend or someone in their corner. Amazing, you got it. All right, so the antagonist has a real stake and can shake the main characters should not be more than 3 to 5. Your main characters, right? But definitely, while working in the office, there might be a secretary, right? While your character, your janitor is cleaning, there might be a child that she usually helps, or a woman in a building that she helps. You want to show some of those things, but they are not going to be consistent, right? It's once in a while you want to show the behavior of your character. That's why you will show those ones. But the major characters that will be following throughout the story should be 3 to 5, not more than 3 to 5. Not more than 3 to 5. These are the characters that we will see consistently from the beginning to the end. But of course, in the sequence, while you are writing your story, you're writing up to 100 chapters, so you can't just write only about the 3 or 5 of them. So they will engage with other people, like their butler, like the PA, minor characters that will come along. But the people who will follow from beginning to the end should not be more than 3 to 5. Okay, so I hope that's clear now. All right, so someone else is saying, my question is, which is the best way to quote a character's thoughts? Thinking out loud in the middle of a dialogue. Yeah, you will write it. It's still their thoughts. As long as it's the character speaking, it's still in quotes. It should still be in quotes. Okay, it should still be in quotes. As long as it's the character speaking, this is not the writer thinking. It is your character thinking, then it should still be in quotes, right? She thought, do you understand? You will write, I think I should jump off this bridge. Oh my goodness, I don't know why that just came. I'm sorry about that. I hope that's not against the YouTube law. Let's go with something more limited and say, I feel like I should pick up this key and drive through the streets. This is your character speaking. This is not you, the writer, saying it. So it must still be in quotes. So when you say that, you will now say she either said it or she thought it. So when you finish putting it in quotes, you write she thought, or she said, or she replied, or do you understand? So you are the one now, you must make sure it's in quotes, and then you are the one as the writer to now describe what she did. Is it a thought? Did she say it out loud? Did she reply someone? Did she react to someone? Did she retort? You are the one to now do that. All right. Do you understand now? Does that make sense? You said bracket, italics, normal, quotes, or make or leave plain. It must always be in quotes. As long as it's your character speaking, it must be in quotes. It must be in quotes, okay? It must be in quotes. All right? So leave plain, like normal conversation. It must be in quotes. It must be in quotes. As long as the character is speaking. So whatever is not in quotes is the writer describing. Anything that is not in quotes, it is the writer describing it. Do you understand? The words that are being in quotes are the ones that your characters are saying either to themselves or to another character in the book. But anything that is not in quotes, it is you, the writer, controlling that. That is not your character. That is you, the writer. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so someone says the three. Excuse me. Please give me water. Okay, so 3 to 5 characters must be connected. Yes. Okay, no. Noted. She said, she thought, she replied. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so you guys, I think we've got everything. Any other person still typing? Are you still typing? Once we end it, you can still type. Drop your comments in the comment section, okay? But we need to end this live stream now. If you still have any questions, ask. If you're wondering how to belong to our community, you can join our filmmaking community with the link in the description of any of our videos. And of course, if you want to be a writer as well, we have a separate writers group. So once you join the community, you can ask to be added as a writer to the writers community, okay? Join the main community, then ask to be added to the writers community. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being part of today's live stream. Of course, if you still have questions, if you still have any concerns, let us know. We are already working with our writers to get them signed, and I hope that we get these testimonies and we can bring them back again to share their own experiences. Our festival is quickly approaching in the next 2 weeks or less. African AI International Film Festival will be live here on this channel. Okay, on the 3rd and 4th of April, we'll be live on this channel for African AI International Film Festival. So if you are not yet aware, if you're watching this, maybe you're not yet a subscriber, hey, consider subscribing, give our videos a thumbs up, and watch out. You're going to be seeing films created by mostly African creators using AI, artificial intelligence, to tell stories. Yes. That is what we do on this channel. We are Africa's AI studio. Yes, Africa's AI studio. So anything you want to do about AI, generative AI, and you're confused about it, come ask questions, okay? Join AFN and ask us questions. We'll show you how to do it. Do you want to write storybooks? Do you want to write do you want to start a podcast? Do you want to start a cooking show? Do you want to start a motivational show? Do you want to start a fitness show? Whatever you want to do and you want to do it with AI, come join AFN and ask us. We're going to show you how to do it. All right. That's why we're here. This is Sab Studios NG, African AI Studio. And yes, the voice you're hearing is Sab, Sandra Adeyeye Bello. Sab for short. Everybody calls me Sab. So call me Sab. See you guys when I see you guys. If we have another live stream, definitely you'll see us, right? But of course, expect our video to drop. So this week we had our weekly challenge, and the video is dropping in the next 40 minutes. Yes, by 2 p.m. WAT, in the next 40 minutes, our top countdown for the week is dropping. So watch out. Top 5 films that were made this week are dropping shortly. So watch out. And we also have a film coming up. A film is coming up on Sunday. So everybody, please watch out for that film. I put in my heart and soul into that film, you guys. I want you to watch it. Help me tell somebody to tell someone to tell someone. The film is called Emotan. Emotan is a story of a woman from the Benin Kingdom in the 15th century. Right, she saved the Oba, and she never really had a child of her own, and a lot just happened around her, and people just glamorize her story. So I wanted to tell it, in my own way, and I used AI to reimagine her story. So you guys, prepare to watch this story, and then of course give me your feedback. This story is going to be dropping on Sunday, the 13th. Is it the 13th or the 15th? I don't know what today's date is. You guys, it's going to be dropping on Sunday, so watch out. Watch out for that film. Thank you, everybody, and have a blessed rest of your day. Bye.